As a kid, I loved the idea of flying. I spent many Saturdays growing up watching the History Channel just to see all the famous pilots which flew directly into the pages of my high school textbooks. I remember one day, I must have been 10 or 11, I found myself watching one of those special documentaries which the History Channel airs from time to time, called The Mystery of Flight 19. It was incredible. A flight of US bomber pilots on a training flight over the Bermuda Triangle, which disappeared with all hands after claiming they were somewhere they couldn't have been. No one knows exactly what happened to this day. The documentary ended by explaining some of the most wild theories I'd ever heard. I don't remember most of them. However, one did stick out to me. It was a theory thrown in at the end because, compared to the other theories, it was relatively boring. It explained that all of the pilots, despite their combat experiences, were rookies, except for the leader who was training them. According to the theory, the pilots flew out, completed their training runs, and were headed back to base when the trainer pilot was suddenly disoriented and lost track of where he was. Since he thought they were somewhere way off course and different from where they actually were, they missed the base, crashed, and were never seen again. I can't tell you whether or not that's what happened to them, but the theory has stuck with me for a long, long time. Fast forward to last year. My fiance and I were headed home from a quiet, fun date night we had just finished. It was a stressful year. We were getting married soon, and I was about to leave my job of 3 years, and we were trying to find a new place to live. So it was nice to be able to get away from all the crazy a few nights a month to just enjoy ourselves. It was late, around 9, but since it was coming up on a weekend soon and I was familiar with the area, I wasn't too worried about getting home. We were only 30 minutes from home anyway, and the freeway was clear of traffic. So I turned on some music and settled in for a relaxing drive. My fiance fell asleep in the passenger seat, and everything seemed fine. However, after 20 minutes of driving the familiar curves of a road I'd driven my entire life, something seemed off. I don't remember when it happened, but as I took the last major curve of the highway, all of a sudden I had no idea where we were. The familiar fields and houses from my childhood were gone, replaced by tall office buildings and apartment blocks with names I couldn't read. I assumed it was just new developments, so I kept driving. The further I went, the more things were wrong. Even the roads didn't seem right, and I didn't notice when we flew right past the highway exit we needed to take. After another 10 minutes, all of a sudden the buildings were familiar again. I wasn't too far from home, and so I backtracked towards the exit we'd missed. This time, however, everything seemed familiar again, though the buildings couldn't have changed in the few short minutes we were gone. That night, as I drifted off to sleep, I couldn't stop thinking about what happened to me, so I Googled it, and surprisingly, I wasn't the only one who had experienced this. Just like with the documentary, people were posting all sorts of theories for why they saw what they did and why they suddenly forgot familiar places. People claimed everything from taking a wrong turn to other dimensions, and some even claimed they'd seen the future. However, one theory stuck out to me more than the rest. Several people claimed they had what they called pilot blindness, similar to when an airline pilot forgets where they are and typically makes mistakes, which leads to accidents, just like the pilots in Flight 19. I experienced that a year ago, and to be honest, I still can't tell you what happened to me that night on the freeway. But I know what I saw.